William Faulkner, the Southern voice of modernism. Introduction. William Faulkner remains one of the 20th century's most revered American writers. His complex narrative styles, deep psychological insight, and profound exploration of the American South's history and culture secured his place at the pinnacle of literary modernism. Born into a prominent Southern family and shaped by the legacies of the Civil War and Reconstruction, Faulkner's life and work reveal the tensions between tradition and innovation, memory and myth. This biography traces his early life, business ventures, literary career, family relationships, and lasting influence. In the heart of the American South, a region steeped in memory and myth, a voice was quietly forming that would one day redefine American literature. William Cuthbert Faulkner was born on September 25, 1897, in New Albany, Mississippi, into a well-established Southern family with deep roots in the region's aristocratic past. The Faulkner name, originally spelled Faulkner, was synonymous with a certain kind of Southern legend, a lineage of soldiers, politicians, and railroad builders. His great-grandfather, Colonel William Clark Faulkner, was a celebrated, if controversial figure, a Civil War veteran, novelist, and duelist whose larger-than-life story became family lore. The Faulkners were part of the landed gentry descended from wealthy planters, but by the time William was born, their fortunes and social power were waning. This decline, a slow fade from antebellum grandeur to post-Reconstruction reality, provided a rich, melancholic cultural and historical environment that would permeate his literary imagination. William was the oldest of 4 sons born to Murray Cuthbert Faulkner and Maud Butler. His father, a man of quiet disposition, managed a series of businesses with limited success, from a livery stable to a hardware store, eventually settling into a role as the business manager for the University of Mississippi. His mother Maud was a more formative intellectual influence. A voracious reader and a painter, she instilled in her sons a love for literature and art, introducing young William to the works of Shakespeare, Dickens, and Balzac. It was a household where the practicalities of a diminishing income coexisted with a rich inner world of books and stories. The Faulkner household was marked by strong, often contradictory stories of Southern pride and honor. The family had ties to notable antebellum figures, and the mythology of the Lost Cause, a romanticized interpretation of the Confederacy's defeat, was a constant, unspoken presence. These tales, passed down through generations, were not just history. They were living narratives of glory, tragedy, and defiance that shaped the family's identity. When Faulkner was 5, the family moved to the university town of Oxford, Mississippi. His childhood was spent primarily at Roanoke, a pre-Civil War home the family purchased in 1930, but the spirit of such places defined his youth. This setting, the town, the surrounding countryside, the decaying plantation homes, became the crucible for his fiction. He absorbed its sights, sounds, and secrets, later reimagining it as the fictional Yoknapatawpha County, a little postage stamp of native soil that would serve as the stage for his most profound explorations of the human condition. Growing up in this environment exposed young William to the complex and often brutal legacy of slavery, the pervasive racial tensions, and the rigid social structures of the post-Reconstruction South. From an early age, Faulkner exhibited a sharp, observant mind and an insatiable interest in storytelling. He was a quiet, introspective boy, known for his artistic talents in drawing and writing poetry. His imagination was fueled by 2 powerful currents: the formal, literary traditions discovered in his mother's library and the vibrant, informal, oral traditions of the South. He listened intently to the stories told by family members, by former slaves, and by the townspeople of Oxford, absorbing the distinct dialects, rhythms, and folklore of his home. Yet, this burgeoning wordsmith struggled in formal schooling. He was a reluctant student, often skipping class to read on his own or roam the woods. He attended the University of Mississippi briefly after his service in World War I, but quickly grew restless and left without a degree. Faulkner felt constrained by academic conventions, preferring the self-directed education he found in books and in life itself. This tension between his immense intellect and his disdain for institutional learning would become a defining characteristic of his early adult years, as he began the solitary journey of forging his own artistic path. After a brief and restless stint at the University of Mississippi, a young William Faulkner sought a different kind of education. He moved to the vibrant, chaotic world of New Orleans, a city teeming with stories. Here he took a job as a journalist for the Times-Picayune, an experience that sharpened his observational skills and immersed him in the daily dramas of urban life. Though he found the structured nature of journalism creatively stifling, this period broadened his exposure to a mosaic of cultures and characters far removed from his rural upbringing. Yet, even amidst the city's intoxicating energy, his imaginative roots remained firmly planted in the soil of the American South, a landscape he would soon transform into his own literary kingdom. As World War I raged across Europe, Faulkner, driven by a romantic notion of heroism and adventure, attempted to enlist in the U.S. Army but was rejected for his short stature. Undeterred, he exaggerated his background, even affecting a British accent, and successfully volunteered for the Royal Canadian Air Force in 1918. He trained as a pilot, but the war ended before he could see any combat. This brush with military life, however brief and unfulfilled, left an indelible mark. It fueled his fascination with aviation and introduced themes of conflict, thwarted ambition, and human vulnerability that would echo throughout his later work. Returning to civilian life, Faulkner settled in New Orleans' French Quarter in the early 1920s, finding a home among a burgeoning community of artists and writers, including the influential Sherwood Anderson. He embraced the bohemian lifestyle, struggling financially and taking on various odd jobs, from house painting to a brief, ill-fated stint at a local bookstore. It was here, amidst the creative ferment of the Vieux Carré, that he truly began to hone his craft. His earliest published works, poems, and sketches started appearing in literary magazines as he painstakingly developed the unique, challenging, and profoundly resonant literary voice that would soon redefine American fiction. These formative years were a crucible, forging the man and the artist. His experiences, from the newsroom to the barracks, from the bustling city to the quiet pull of home, all coalesced into a singular vision. He began a deep immersion into writing the novels and short stories that would become his legacy, all set in the mythic southern landscape of his imagination. He focused on decaying family histories, intractable race relations, and the psychological unraveling of characters caught between a burdensome past and an uncertain present. Faulkner's literary career truly began to take shape with his first novel, published in 1926. This work, which explored the profound dislocation and trauma of soldiers returning from the Great War, immediately placed him in conversation with the lost generation of writers. It was a powerful, if conventional start, but it was in the creation of his own fictional kingdom, Yoknapatawpha County, that Faulkner would build his enduring legacy. This meticulously imagined corner of Mississippi, based on his native Lafayette County, became the crucible for his most profound explorations of the human condition. It was here, in this little postage stamp of native soil, that he would gain both national and international acclaim. The period from 1929 to 1936 marked an astonishing creative outpouring. Works like shattered conventional storytelling, its radical use of 4 distinct narrative voices, including the fragmented consciousness of the intellectually disabled Benji Compson, challenged literary norms and demanded unprecedented reader engagement. He followed this masterpiece with Written in a Mere 6 Weeks. This novel pushed his stream of consciousness techniques even further, weaving a haunting tapestry of mortality and family dysfunction through the minds of 15 different characters on a grim funeral journey. Faulkner continued to deepen his thematic concerns with Aoi, a sprawling novel that directly confronted the South's tortured legacies of race, religion, and identity through the tragic figure of Joe Christmas. Then came, often considered his magnum opus. This dense, labyrinthine novel interrogates the very nature of history and memory, as multiple narrators attempt to piece together the story of a fallen Southern dynasty. Through these works, Faulkner's portrayal of the South became a powerful allegory for universal struggles. A complex, contradictory landscape of beauty and brutality, resilience and decay, presented as both a searing critique and a profound elegy. Despite this monumental artistic achievement, Faulkner's dense prose and challenging structures often alienated the reading public. He struggled with commercial success and faced inconsistent critical reception, a challenge common to many literary modernists who prioritized artistic innovation over popular appeal. Financial pressures were a constant companion, forcing him to take on work as a Hollywood screenwriter to support his family and his primary passion for novel writing. Yet, the literary world eventually caught up. He was awarded the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction twice, and the ultimate validation arrived in 1949 when he was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature for his powerful and artistically unique contribution to the modern American novel. Faulkner married Estelle Oldham in 1929, and their relationship was marked by deep affection, but also strains arising from Faulkner's intense commitment to writing and his unpredictable personality. They had a daughter, but their family life was challenged by Faulkner's bouts of depression and periods of heavy drinking. His personal struggles with mental health have been examined by biographers as integral to his creative intensity. Throughout his life, Faulkner maintained strong ties to Mississippi, often retreating to Roanoke, which remained both a sanctuary and a symbol for his work. William Faulkner revolutionized American literature, expanding the possibilities of narrative, voice, and the portrayal of consciousness. His dense, multi-layered prose and exploration of unvarnished social realities influenced countless writers globally. His work confronts enduring American themes, the shadow of slavery and racism, the complexities of family and honor, and the search for identity in turbulent times. Yoknapataufa County became a literary microcosm for America's contradictions. Faulkner's impact extends beyond literature into film, art, and cultural studies. His experimentation with time, memory, and perspective echoes in contemporary fiction and theory. Do not use any music for this video.